Man, what a great year for StarCraft 2, going all the way back to the launch of Legacy of the Void. And now we welcome executive producer of StarCraft 2. It's Chris Sigaty. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hey, guys. So excited to be here.
Yes, who's joined the Epic Hair Desk, so welcome.
Thank you.
You're always at the best
As
hair.
usual, yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about StarCraft 2. We just came off the panel for DeepMind. What was your reaction when you first started working with this company? Because this is the first time you guys have ever announced a collaboration like this here at BlizzCon.
Yeah, which is really cool. I mean, really humbling. I mean, the guys at DeepMind have been awesome to work with. They're really forward-thinking, and one of the things that I admire most about what they did, we really didn't know what we were doing. I mean, it came together as this end result after the AlphaGo victory. It was actually the press and the media that put out some things that said, "What's next, StarCraft?" And Mike made some comments. Mike made some comments, and the CEO at DeepMind did the same, Demis. And then next thing you knew, we were talking, and still we didn't really know, what does this really mean? What are we going to do? And so, well, we batted this around and started actually giving them some builds, starting to look at it. What would you really need to even do this? Eventually, they came around and said, you know, this is a really tough problem, and we'd like to put it out there to the whole world in general.
Wow.
Which is pretty crazy. We were like, okay. I mean, this sounds great. We want to tackle this problem. We think it is challenging, and there's tons of challenges, and they kind of went into some of them, but it's an extremely complex game, and so many hierarchical things that have to happen to get success in this. So we're really excited. I mean, ultimately, we're going to release the StarCraft 2 API early next year. And then that's going to hopefully lead to some great improvements in some of the challenges that are faced in deep learning and machine learning AI.
I mean, anytime it almost reminds me of that folding at home type of stuff back in the day, where it was like, use your off-hour computing power to help solve something. And I was always like, that's amazing. I'm doing science. But I love that you're like, play StarCraft 2 for science. It's like, yes, I will.
I think that's one of the things about the announcement that's hard to really grasp is it feels like maybe this is just for researchers. And it is, I mean, a lot of what we'll be releasing will be aimed at researchers so that they can make progress on some of these very fundamental challenges that are there. But from a player perspective, I think this has the potential to dramatically change the gaming landscape and what players can ultimately expect from gaming experiences over time. And of course, it's all speculative. We're very, very early in the process, but for me, I get really geeked up thinking about what could come out of this.
I mean, there's just so many opportunities with this. I mean, there's really no way that you can have a cap on the limitations at this point, because you don't know what they are. You know, in the panel, they were talking about how they were teaching it more good gamer, but not like a pro gamer. They were teaching more along the lines of just a good gamer. Do you see that at all potentially going into a place of like, okay, we've created a good gamer. How do we make that good gamer a pro gamer?
It's hard to say. I think that will be true. You know, like we brought up the idea of replays for people, and so any replay can help bootstrap some of these general AI. I mean, basically the sorts of agents that they're using. So you could be not a very good player, but the fact that you literally assigned a worker to a mineral patch is enough to get an AI starting to learn. So yeah, we could. You can use really any skill level, as long as it's not standing still and doing nothing. There is learning that will take place.
So it should not use me as a basis, because I am not good at StarCraft.
Well, you know what? We all feel that way, and that is one of the reasons I think StarCraft is being used. StarCraft 2 is being used is because it's an elite game. It's one of the most elite strategic games out there. It demands very much of the user. And it sort of makes sense on why it is this next step in the journey for tackling games.
Well, I like the fact that they started talking about how Go was the perfect snapshot of the state of the game. I think they called it like the perfect state of information or something like that, the most perfect information game. Because each player knows exactly what is happening in the game and the state of the game. Whereas StarCraft 2 is literally the exact opposite. You have to make so many assumptions of what you think you should do based on what you think the other person may do, and that's going to be a hard challenge, right?
And that's the thing I think is most fascinating. One of the most fascinating things for me is that aspect exactly, because it is so critical to scout. It's so critical to understand, but you can't always do it. So there's a lot of assumptions that have to be made. But the interesting thing is that this idea of bootstrapping and how agents will learn and the public will have access to this as well once you start releasing this as a package is through replays themselves. And so there will be a lot of understanding that comes like, oh, I do have to have something there to understand what's going on so I can counter play and build units that are good counters to the units that the other player is building. And so that's a huge aspect of it. I don't know, like there's actually inventiveness there and imagination. They talked about those things in the panel, but I think it's really interesting to think that far. Again, we're very early in this.
Yeah.
But
sure, but I mean, it's just like the sky's the limit. I mean,
Yeah.
it really challenges the imagination to push yourself to another level of thinking about what this could accomplish. So, you touched a little bit on it. This is one of the things that you're excited about with it. For you personally, I mean, you've been involved with Starcraft forever.
Right.
Yeah.
What about this excites you the most?
I think, honestly, it's the potential for how this could change games over time. And so this is all speculative.
Sure,
I don't want to
of course.
promise anything.
We
here,
should just
but-
have that
This was so
running
fun.
underneath
This
the
is
thing, right?
amazing.
It's all
Netflix,
speculative.
all
Yeah.
things are
Speculative.
coming out. That is not
We
good.
want them.
But Oriel talked a little bit about when he was watching AlphaGo, he was actually seeing the AlphaGo AI's thinking of a move, how it was bettering its position or its ability to win, where the actual casters were saying, oh, that was a lousy move, or whatever.
Yeah.
And behind the scenes, they're seeing like statistics have gone up in favor of AlphaGo.
Huh.
So what does that mean? It could mean down the line that we could have AI coaches or casters or both and custom built to you. You say, I'm not very good at Starcraft 2.
Right.
Well, you're hitting a block at some point, maybe very early as a user, and what is the thing that you're not doing? And to have an AI that could get to the point that it could point out to you, right now you should be thinking about this, and not custom, not specifically.
So it could tell me.
Could tell you exactly what you need to be doing.
Can be my new
in
best
that
friend.
game. Exactly.
No, it's really smart. And the other thing I think that's really exciting, I mean, you talked about maybe it becomes a caster itself.
Exactly.
But you look
That's fascinating.
at poker.
Huh.
Yes.
And you look at the fact that as soon as a card turns, boom, you know what the percentages are.
Yep.
I mean, think about that in a 1v1 StarCraft 2 match.
Totally.
Where all of a sudden it goes, boom, Dark now has an 82% chance to win, but maybe they don't, and now you get to see the fun, just like
Totally.
poker.
Exactly.
You
Where's
had
that
the
bet?
opportunity and you totally lost it. And you can see the flow maybe a little bit better for somebody who's a layperson, which I
Sure.
think could open up even esports even more to people, which
Exactly.
is great.
Yeah, and Dan, when we told Dan about it, Artosis,
Yeah.
he said, oh man, I can tell you that if that was available, it'd be amazing, because it's just another conversation point, but a really important one is like, what's really going on right now? And I don't know if we can get there, but I'm really hopeful about that. But there's way more too, matchmaking.
Yeah.
What is the thing that absolutely determines skill
Yeah.
for a player over time? If AI can get to the point where it's great at a game like StarCraft 2, then it could also be pointed at the data itself and say, what is the most important facet that makes a player great? Is it the actions per minute? Is it
Right.
Is it the combination of these three statistics? It's been studied at the university level a bit, and there's been some really interesting takeaways from it.
For StarCraft in particular?
Yes, exactly. One of the things that was brought up recently with this is it's all about moving. It's when you move your screen to a new location, your time to action, the next action that takes place, the smaller that time window is, the number of milliseconds it takes till you take action, is the best judgment of true skill. This is one paper that was written about it, and that's like I never even thought about that till I heard this paper. Hidden in the data, if you could point an AI that is really great at the game, at the data, it may reveal some things like that that were really meaningful to...
Just a time lapse.
Yeah, to understand. So then a new player comes in, it looks at your play, and it says, actually, we know your skill level. You don't have to go play a bunch of ladder maps in all the matches and all that. We just see a few things that you have, and we look at that data, and we absolutely know where you are, and what coach you need now. Here's your coach.
Yeah.
You know what fascinates me the most about this, as a player and somebody who's always wanted to learn StarCraft, but is intimidated by it. I've always been intimidated by it because I feel like I don't know how to min-max.
Right.
And if I had somebody explaining to me how to min-max as I go, that's not my friend just trying to kill me.
Right.
Because that's usually what happens. I would like an AI friend that could teach me.
Right. It's behind. It's sort of private coaching, right? At
Yeah.
that point. And again, we could go there, but I think it would totally change the game because I would love to do that. Here's another great example. If we can get to that point, Korea is a dominant, culture basically in Starcraft.
Yeah.
It's part of it, but it's also the skill level of all of the players in that region are higher generally. So what we see is it's very difficult for, say, a North American player or a player in Australia to be able to get to that level of mastery because they don't have opponents that are at the same
play
skill.
against.
Totally.
So it really matters the skill level you're playing against. So you're only as good as sort of the best players, or maybe you're better than the best player in your region. So traveling to Korea has been a big thing for some of the pros. Neve just did it recently.
Yeah.
To try to get better. What if you could just have that level of skill at any time you wanted? Your ability as a player to improve goes up dramatically. And so they've been seeing it. Some of the interesting things is Lee Sedol's played more times. He's raised his ELO level. So has the European player that they used first to sort of test out how good is AlphaGo.
Yeah.
He's been playing games over and over again, and his ELO rating's going up dramatically too. And so there's a lot sitting under this that feels like.
I mean, this is just, it just challenges the imagination, and there's so much here that we can cover. Chris, thank you so much for stopping by the desk. And guys, really exciting stuff coming out of the StarCraft 2 panel this year. And if that panel is any indication, the future is bright for your franchise now. So StarCraft has always been one of the premier esports. And for more, we're going to send it out to the third member of our team, Malik Forte. Malik, what's up?